to the Inside Scoop. I'm Pat Riley. Thank you for joining us. We'd like to welcome our guests. We have with us today Yelle and Kim Dolan. Thank you very much for joining us to talk about Rave, our Raynham Association of Volunteers for Education. And Gay, you have been involved with Rave for many years.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Now, Rave is actually celebrating 31 years of providing volunteers and volunteer programs in the Raynham schools. When did you get involved?
I got involved because Donna Riendo was my co-teacher at the Sullivan School, and she talked me into joining that program. She was a volunteer, and I thought that sounded like a great idea, so I joined Rave and became a member of the board. And at that time, the Rave group was celebrating volunteers in an evening program. And we had an evening program to thank the volunteers. And I was asked to be the chairperson of that volunteer celebration. And I thought it would be a nice idea to have a day celebration and to thank the volunteers during the day. And I thought it would be nicer to change the focus of having the children thank the volunteers instead of having the board thank the volunteers. So we've changed the focus to the day, and now the children thank the volunteers. And we do it during the day, and we do it at the school. And that is how the focus has changed.
And you are chairing that program for Rave, as you have been for many years now.
Yes. So
call it our Rave celebration. And Kim is our volunteer coordinator. Thanks for joining us, Kim.
Thank you.
And this is your
Fifth year. Oh, well, second year as the volunteer coordinator, but fifth year as a Rave volunteer.
Excellent. Very good. And how are we going to be celebrating our volunteer appreciation?
We're going to be celebrating at the Merrill School on Tuesday, April 24th.
Yep.
At 11:30 in the morning. We're going to have a nice lunch provided by Chartwell's. And then we're going to have some entertainment from some of the students at the Merrill School. And we're going to give some awards out.
And any of our active volunteers are invited to come. And hopefully we'll get a good turnout.
Yep, it's a delicious lunch. It's a good time. It's our way of saying thank you for all the hard work that everybody does the whole school year long. So if you're available, please come and enjoy a lunch with us.
Very good. And this is actually a week of celebration to thank volunteers, Kim.
Yeah, the town of Raynham declared it Volunteer Week the whole entire week, but we'll be celebrating on that Tuesday.
Absolutely. With the Selectmen's meeting this week for a proclamation proclaiming the week of Volunteer Appreciation Week this coming week in the town of Raynham. So it's excellent. Now, when you first got involved, Gay, were you a teacher at that point?
Yes, I was. I was a special education teacher in the first grade classroom with Scotia Crest. She was the regular education teacher. I was a special education teacher. And Donna Riendo was the regular education teacher in grade 2, and I was the special education teacher.
Was that at the Sullivan School?
That was at the Sullivan
Which is
School.
now our Veterans Memorial Town Hall.
That's right. Yes, I was downstairs in grade 1 and I was upstairs in grade 2. And that was one of the first years that we did a full inclusion model. So all of the special education students were fully included in the mainstream. So we had our Down syndrome children and our Williams syndrome children, and all the disabled children were fully included in the mainstream. So it was a wonderful opportunity for those children to be fully included. And if it wasn't for the teachers like Donna Riendo and Scotia Crest, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So that was a wonderful opportunity.
Excellent, excellent. And of course, you served many years as a teacher, special ed teacher, and then the director, pupil personnel director for the district.
Yeah, over 42 years I was at Bridgewater Raynham, so that was a wonderful opportunity for me. I've now retired from Bridgewater Raynham. I'm now working at the Milton Public Schools as their out-of-district coordinator, and I'm a visiting lecturer at Bridgewater State College. So I'm still in education, and it's a wonderful, it's wonderful. So I had almost 20 student teachers I supervised this year for Bridgewater State College.
Excellent, excellent. And you're still on our Rave Board of Directors,
Still
so
Rave.
we greatly appreciate
yes,
that.
That's right. So getting back to that, so that some of the students are coloring our placemats and making that very colorful. And we can't help but mentioning Maria, who's going to be setting up the cafeteria in a very nice way.
Excellent. Kim, what is our theme this year?
The theme this year is the Rave volunteers are our everyday heroes. which they are.
Absolutely. How many volunteers do we have active in the schools approximately, Kim?
Oh gosh, I'd say between all of the programs that we run throughout the year and just the everyday help that the volunteers come in and give the teachers, maybe about 100 to 125 active. We have a list of over 300 volunteers.
Right.
And you know, we still are in touch with all of those volunteers, and they do come out and help us every once in a while, but I think that maybe the regular is about 100 to 125.
On a regular basis, and then you have some, as you said, that come just for special programs.
Yeah,
Because I'm thinking just about our kindergarten reception program, riding the buses, there's almost like over 100 slots to fill just for that.
And I think this year we used about 80 volunteers just for that program.
And that riding the kindergarten buses is such an important day, because it's a very big day for a kindergarten child when they first start school. Going on that big yellow bus is a very anxious day, not only for children but for parents as well. And to have those kindergarten volunteers be on that bus to make it a less anxious experience, that's a wonderful volunteer program for that beginning of the school year.
That's one of Rave's oldest programs. Many of them have been going on for quite a few years. So that kind of kicks things off. Kim, maybe you can just kind of like run through the highlights of the year. Obviously, you have the regular volunteers that help out in the classrooms or in the schools, the workrooms and so forth, and then all of those special programs.
Yeah, we have volunteers that read in the classrooms at the kindergarten and the first grade level. We have volunteers that help out in the libraries for Maryland Law Liberty and the middle school too a little bit. And then we have programs throughout the year. I'll try to go chronologically. We start with the Veterans Day program. Well, after the kindergarten reception program, we start with the Veterans Day program. And then we run our biggest fundraiser in the beginning of December, which is the Rave Craft Fair, very well attended event. And then let's see, let me mention that we run a homework club at the middle school, which I forgot to mention. 2 days a week, we have high school mentors come in and help the middle school children with their homework. And that goes for the entire year, starting in about October and through the end of May, we run that. In the beginning of the calendar year, we have Read Across America Week, where we have guest readers come in and read Dr. Seuss stories to the children in the classrooms. And then we do our fingerprinting program in March usually, and we fingerprint all of the kindergarten children as well as the 5th graders, and then anyone who had missed their prints in either of those 2 years. And then we have what's coming up, the Rave Appreciation Luncheon in April. And then in May, our last big program for the year is CAST Week, Children and Seniors Together Week, and that's usually in the first week of May.
And that will be the next big project coming up, obviously. And the selectmen did just proclaim that week of April 29th as the Children and Seniors Together Week, which is another great program, Gay, because we get to bring in so many senior citizens to come into the classrooms and, you know, talk to the children. And now that you're kind of retired and working, we can bring you in as one of our young seniors. But they read, Kim, they read stories to the young children, and at La Liberty talk to the kids about what life was like when they were going to school in the 2nd or 3rd or 4th grade.
Yep, and also in the 5th and 6th grade, they will tell stories about what life was like when they were growing up.
Or they can, sometimes they talk about a special hobby that they have or life experience, or so that's a great event too. And each of those special programs, whether it's Read Across America Week or Children and Seniors Week, brings probably another 50 special volunteers into the schools too to participate and be our special guests. So that's great. Tell us about CAST Week this year, Kim. Will be a kickoff at the Senior Center.
Yep, that's on Monday, April 30th. We'll have a kickoff at 1:30 at the Senior Center. The seniors can come. If they haven't already signed up to be in the program, they can sign up that day. I'm sure we'll have a few openings. And they can also choose the book they're going to read if they're going to read a book. And we may have a little bit of special entertainment that day as well. And then
Or if people too haven't been involved in it before and they just want to know what it's all about, you know, they're certainly welcome to come as well.
Anyone's welcome to come down for the kickoff. And then on Tuesday, we're going to be visiting the La Liberty School in the morning at 9:30. We'll be running this spelling bee that we have every year with the 4th grade students. So we have a team of 4th graders, 3 3 fourth graders, I think, from each class will team up with some seniors, and they'll compete in a spelling bee. That's a lot of fun. So that's on Tuesday morning. And then on Wednesday, we'll be visiting the middle school, the 5th and 6th grade classrooms. The seniors will go in and talk to those students in the morning. On Thursday, we'll be visiting La Liberty. There'll be morning visits at 9:30 and afternoon visits at 1:30. And the seniors will be going into the classroom again to either read stories or tell stories about what life was like when they were growing up. And then we finish the week off at the Merrill School on Friday. We have 10:30 a.m. visits and 1:30 visits in the classrooms with the seniors reading stories. And then in between, we're having a reception for the seniors with coffee and pastry.
And we're still obviously signing up seniors.
Yes.
So if anybody out there is interested, they could probably contact the Senior Center at 508-824-2740. Talk to Liz Mora, the director there, or contact you at Merrill at 508-824-2490.
Extension 314.
Okay, very good. Or, email, leave you a message, and you'll get in touch with them as well. So,
Yes.
Excellent. Gay, Rave has been kicking for quite a long time now, 31 years.
31
That's quite
years.
a record.
Yes, it is.
What do you think is the secret to that? Because many volunteer organizations, come and go, but that's pretty good record.
It is a very good record. I just think that people enjoy going into the schools and helping out. And, it's had a coordinator that, first was Shoshone Agaric that, that started the organization, and then you have, kept it rolling along, Pat, and just kept it and it just has been a wonderful organization that has met, and you meet once every other month, is it?
Just about. The board of directors about 5 times during
in the year.
Right, exactly.
With a culminating event with a dinner at the end of the year.
Annual meeting.
The annual meeting. And it's just, people want to give back to the schools and feel proud doing it. And it's just been a wonderful organization.
I always think sometimes it's something in our water or something. We have such a good volunteer ethic in the town of Raynham. That's really great, and so fortunate to get the people that we have involved. Kim is just doing, Michelle Ennis before her, and Kim is just doing an awesome job.
Yep,
And
exactly.
and you said good people on our board of directors, and we have a large board of directors. But it involves beyond the school. I think another secret is the community connection, because we do have people from the community as well. Obviously, our connection with the seniors, and Kathleen Roberts has been kind of spearheading that for many years. And that's really important too. That it's a great school organization, but it's a little beyond that too, because it's the community connection.
And at the luncheon, we're going to be giving out 2 awards and a special award this year. Pat, you might want to talk about that.
Absolutely. The Shoshone Agaric Volunteer of the Year Award was named after our founder, Shoshone Agaric, who started Rave in 1981. She was a member of the Raynham School Committee at the time, and that was the time of Proposition 2.5 when there were lots of cutbacks, and really we had active parents groups, but the feeling in the community was that people wanted to be able to do more. So Shoshone was a great organizer and researched volunteer groups, and I think traveled around the state to visit other groups to find out what worked and suggestions and so forth, and put together this great organization with a board of directors. And we've tweaked it along through the years, but basically many of the same programs and the same structure has been in place there. But Shoshone was as you said, the first president and the first volunteer coordinator, and held that position for the first 16 years of the organization. So the Shoshone Agaric Volunteer of the Year Award is named in her honor, and it needs to be a person who has served as a member of the board of directors as a volunteer for a number of years, and kind of exemplifies what Rave has, stands for. And I can just read to you. I happen to bring this long cheat sheet. Our previous recipients of the Shoshone Agaric Volunteer of the Year Award started in 1996. Shoshone actually. That was the year that she retired, and then the event was set up in her honor. So we have Joyce Denon, Pam George, Linda Texera, who's still very involved on our board of directors, Patty Rowland, Cheryl DiVincenzo, Cheryl Spear, Dr. Nancy Witherell, Colleen Kelly, Mara Daly, who's still on our board, Beverly Ellis, Allison Gingras, Kathleen Roberts, we mentioned. Catherine Boyd, still our treasurer, Kathy Boyd. Carol Imprescia, she's still our fingerprinting chairperson. Kellyanne Thomas, last year's recipient was Shoshone Agaric Volunteer of the Year Award last year.
Mrs. Tripp?
What was that?
Was it Mrs. Tripp?
Kathy Boyd. Kathy Boyd. Do we say Kathy? We mentioned Kathy Boyd.
Mrs. Tripp? Was
No,
it?
Ken, she got the other award.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It's not listed in last year's program. We're going to think about it very shortly.
Was it the police chief? Retired
No,
police
that
chief?
was the Rave Award.
Ah.
And so then we also, that's the Shoshone Agaric Volunteer of
Yep.
the Year Award. We can't announce who this year's recipient is because it's a surprise. And before the end of the show, we'll announce who last year's was when we remember. But also, there's also, we established in 2006 the Rave Board of Directors Award. And it's the Rave Award for Exceptional Dedication and Commitment to the Children of Raynham. And the reason we established that is because we didn't want to be limited to a member of the Board of Directors, which is the Shoshone Agaric Award. So that doesn't necessarily have to be someone who has served as a volunteer, which the Shoshone Agaric Award does, or as a member of the Board of Directors, but just has really gone above and beyond in their dedication and commitment to the children of Raynham. And you can see by those people, 2006 with Anthony Caputo. Gay, tell us about Tony Caputo.
Tony was a principal in the town of Raynham, and prior to that was a physical education teacher for many years at the La Liberty Junior High School, and just was a special person, and so well deserving of that award.
He actually, for a time, served as the
For
principal of both the Merrill and the La Liberty. And certainly, I mean, made a
Traveled
track running back and forth between those two schools, which was really above and beyond.
Right.
So when Mr. Caputo retired in 2006, we gave that award to him. Then in 2007, that award was given to retired Police Chief Peter King. And that was because Chief King actually started the fingerprinting program, which was one of our most important programs. As Kim mentioned, every year we fingerprint children. In our kindergarten children, new children to the system, and the 5th grade children. And what else does Chief King do for us, Kim?
He's a wonderful
photos.
photographer.
Yes, wonderful
gosh.
pictures of every event.
He
Yep.
does. He's our, volunteer but very professional photographer
He's
who
a
attends
beautiful
all of our
photographer,
special
yeah.
events. And
Yes.
and in addition to that, he also does a lot of volunteer photography in the schools. I don't know if people realize that or not, but the Student of the Month here at the Raynham Middle School, he photographs that, and he also travels with the at the high school, the TJ Square robotics team,
right.
and video and tapes photographs that as well. So he's done a lot of volunteering for the schools. In 2008, the award was presented to Selectman Don McKinnon. And again, Don was he was selectman when Rave started back in 1981, just retiring this year actually. But we're certain that he's going to continue with his Rave involvement, because through the years he's been a big supporter of Rave, and also Kim always attends our special events. He's always there for Children and Seniors Together Week, Read Across America Week. The Lorax is his book that he always reads. So, again, really above and beyond in his commitment to the children of Raynham. And, has supported Rave in the organization through the years. In 2009, it was Kathleen Roberts. Again, Kathleen, as one of the founding members of Rave, as a Rave principal at that time. And then she's been so involved through the years. She actually got us started with Read Across America Week, the very first year that it was started across the country as an initiative by the National Education Association. Kathleen brought it to us and said, do you think we can do that? And we do that every year. In 2010, Kathy Tripp, retiring principal. And we're always so proud of Kathy because she started as a mom, as a Rave volunteer, and then became a teacher, and then went on to become principal. So she's one of our, she was actually a great books discussion leader for Rave too. And then last year's recipient was retiring police chief Lou Pacheco for that award. And this year's again is a secret. You can't find out until our luncheon on April 24th when we will announce that So that's
And-
2 big awards.
And then we have another
A special award.
award.
I'm going to let Kim, it was Kim's suggestion to do this. So Kim, you can tell us about our new Everyday Hero Award. Just don't
Yes.
announce who it is.
Because of our theme, Rave volunteers are our everyday heroes, we decided to have an Everyday Hero Award for that volunteer that doesn't necessarily do the most amount of time, but does go above and beyond with what they do in their dedication to the schools. We just felt like we should honor one person because of that. So we'll be giving that award out on Tuesday as well.
Excellent. Very good. And then, Gay, we also give out our Rave pins. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, we have Rave pins.
That's a long-standing tradition, too.
And we give out pins, in multiples of 3. So we'll start with 3 years, and we're giving them up, 3, 6, 9, 12, etc., all the way up to 30 years. So Kim and Pat will recite the names, and Teresa Mastria and I will, Linda Texiera, sorry.
It's okay.
Linda Texiera and I will give out the pins to the people that Pat and Kim will announce who are deserving of those pins at the 3-year intervals.
We do have actually a couple of people that are still involved and have been from the beginning, volunteers that received pins last year or were recognized. Brenda Clemmy, that was our Rave Volunteer of the, oh, thank goodness.
I knew it would come to her. I knew
Shoshone
that.
Agaric Volunteer of the Year Award last year. As a former member of the Board of Directors, Brenda actually was one of the founding members, worked with Shoshone on putting together the bylaws for the organization, and she became, when Shoshone stepped down as the first president, Brenda followed her. So she was the first president after, Shoshone. So Brenda, thank you for remembering that. That was Brenda Clemmy, and then also Marge Largy. Marge has been involved from the very beginning, and every year she comes back either to ride buses or read stories or help with fingerprinting. And Kathleen Roberts. So we always, kind of recognize them as well and greatly appreciate that. Kim, do you want to just, I'm going to pass that to Kim. It was a special poem that we try to read at our volunteer appreciation event every year.
You want me to read it?
Please.
Okay, so this poem goes to the word volunteer. V, valuable is the work you do. O, outstanding in how you always come through. L, loyal, sincere, and full of good cheer. U, untiring in your efforts throughout the year. N, notable are the contributions you make. T, trustworthy in every project you take. E, eager to reach your every goal. E, effective in the way you fulfill your role. R, ready with a smile like a shining star. S, special and wonderful, that's what you are.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Kim, it's a wide variety of people that get involved as volunteers. I mean, you have the junior volunteers, which are sometimes our middle school or high school students, and then we have many senior citizens. What does it take to become an official Rave volunteer?
Anybody can become an official Rave volunteer. All you have to do is contact me, fill out an application. There's a short 30-minute or so training. You need to fill out a query form and a confidentiality agreement. And once you've done all those pieces and you've been trained, then you are welcome to come and volunteer in the schools.
And as you mentioned before, there's a wide variety of things that volunteers can do.
Yeah, we're actually we just started helping with a new program that the new principal at the Merrill School, Mrs. Latender, has initiated. It's a reading program, a school-wide reading program. So now we're helping with that program at the Merrill School. So there's always new things coming up. We do all of our old stuff, but we also do new stuff when it comes up too. So there's always opportunities to help out.
Excellent, very good. Gay, as a teacher, did you ever have the opportunity to observe volunteers working in the schools and helping out teachers?
Oh, yes. Whether it was running off papers or whether it was, helping, students, with extra reading or whether it was helping, with the books, in the library. We didn't have much of a library at the Sullivan School, but it was just helping with any of the tasks that involved with the classroom. You can't imagine all the paperwork that is involved, tidying up in the room or just being there with the children, to listen to the children read. The children just so appreciate having people come in and just being with them. It was always appreciated, and the principals always enjoyed the Rave volunteers coming into their schools. any little bit helps.
Absolutely.
Helping with bulletin boards, helping to put the bulletin boards
yes.
up.
The
That is a
teachers
huge
love help with bulletin
help
boards.
with bulletin boards. Help going outside with recess duty, you know, helping with a jump rope, you know, helping out in the playground. There's always so much that a Rave volunteer can do in the schools.
Our duties change from year to year, Kim, depending on what the teachers and the principals want, you know, what special events we have going on. But it can always use an extra pair of helping hands or an extra set of eyes to, you know, to watch what's going on in the schools and, you know, watch out for those little guys.
Right.
And quite often it's just giving that extra TLC.
Exactly.
You know, the teachers have, you know, so many kids to watch out for.
Right.
And just to have somebody else there that is there, maybe some of the teachers have the children, you know, practice their reading for the young first grade, you know, kindergarten children are reading.
Yes.
Kindergarten and first graders, as they learn to read, the teacher can't possibly have enough time to sit down one-on-one and listen to every child as often as they would like.
Right.
And a volunteer can certainly do that. So.
And where classrooms are set up now with so many different center activities, it's always nice to have a Rave volunteer to be able to help with a center activity, because you know, it's just nice to have somebody to be able to organize that, and it's just wonderful to have another adult in the room.
Yeah.
And,
Some,
go ahead.
some of the teachers do writing workshops with the children as well, and it's good to have extra hands in there to help during the writing workshops, because, you know, more than one student needs help at the same time. And I always find, and I think this makes a big difference with the volunteers in Raynham, is the teachers are always very welcoming of anybody who comes into the classroom at all the schools. It's just wonderful. They're so welcoming, and I think that's why the volunteers come and they feel comfortable doing it.
And we have so many, you know, people out there, whether it's, you know, younger volunteers or the seniors, that have a wealth of background knowledge and experience. And to be able to access that, it's so great for a school district. You know,
Right.
it's a total advantage.
Right,
you know.
and some volunteers, you know, may have young children at home and think that they can't always be out in the schools doing volunteer work. Some of that volunteer work can be done in the home, that they can take some paperwork home and do that sort of busy work in the home and then bring it back to the school as well. So don't think
Putting
that
projects together, cutting things up, and, you know, it saves the teacher, so we always say that way the teacher can concentrate on dealing, you know, with the children.
Right. I did a observation of a preschool teacher the other day, and she had spent a lot of time coloring these different cards that she had done for a lesson. Well, that teacher could have spent a lot of time having a volunteer color all those cards, and the teacher could have laminated those. That's all she would have had to done with that if she could have had a volunteer color all those different things herself. Had she had a volunteer that could have done that for her.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, Gay, it's fun volunteering.
Yeah.
Because how can you not be happy when you're around those adorable little children with their, you know, they're so welcoming, and they appreciate the volunteers
Right.
so much. If they see you out in the, you know, community, they get all excited.
Exactly.
And we have many stories, Kim, you know, about people riding on the kindergarten bus and just an hour out of your time. And the kids appreciate that so much. I mean, you know, we've run into children a couple years later, and they remember that you rode with them on the bus on the first day of school. It really is very rewarding.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
We pay our volunteers in smiles and thank yous.
And well worth it.
Yes, absolutely. Another project we didn't mention, program too, Kim, is our Volunteer Scholarship Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we offer 3 Rave Scholarship Awards for a graduating senior, and the award is given based on volunteerism, of course, and we will be getting ready to do the interviews soon for those awards.
Yeah, the deadline was just this week, April 15th, and now we'll put together our little interview committee and interview the scholarship applicants, and then be able to award those when the, you know, when the high school announces their awards, their scholarship awards night. But it's anyone who lives in the town of Raynham and is a graduating senior, regardless of what school they attend.
Yep.
So that's always great too, and as you said, again, trying to promote that ethic of volunteering and community service. We're really happy this year that the high school, the Bridgewater Raynham High School now, has adopted a community service component, because that will help, you know, get more kids involved in volunteering. Because one thing, and I'm sure you've noticed it too, Gay, is that it's hereditary, is that quite often, you know, the junior volunteers that we see, their parents are involved as volunteers.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And it certainly, you know, is good for them, the students, to see their parents involved in the schools.
Right.
Impresses them upon them how important education is.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, years ago when we had that alliance with the seniors, what was that program called, Pat?
Chores.
Chores, yes.
Mhm.
I made sure that my children signed up for that because I felt how important that was, whether they were shoveling somebody's driveway or helping somebody with groceries. That was a very important initiative that I wanted my children to be a part of.
Absolutely, and that was creatively helping our retired elders or something with chores or
Yes, yeah,
something
yeah,
like that. But now, obviously, that concept being brought back, and our school committee member Susan Prewandowski has done a lot along that line too. So, looking forward to getting more and more kids involved in, you know, getting involved in their community and volunteering, because that's a big part of what we're all about.
Right.
So again, Kim, any active volunteers or anybody that's volunteered and wants to come back and get involved, we get a perfect opportunity of our volunteer appreciation luncheon
Yeah.
coming up.
Everyone's welcome.
Can you give us the date again for that?
It's Tuesday, April 24th.
4th at 11:30 at
11:30.
the Merrill School.
And Gay will have a nice lunch and some entertainment.
Yes, entertainment from the kindergarten and first grade students, Mrs. Rigo's class and Mrs. Gaffney's class.
Yeah,
Right,
and
Kim?
Mrs. Carson.
And Mrs. Carson.
And Mrs. Riley's kindergarten class is working on
Some
those
placemats, yeah.
placemats. So excellent.
And Mrs. Latender, our new principal at the Merrill School, will be our hostess, the mostess.
We know we've got some special guests coming as well,
Yeah.
so we're definitely looking forward to that. And Rave, we started mentioning about how it's fun too, Gay. Through the years, you've had some events that certainly have generated a lot of good times.
Yeah, we used to have a golf tournament.
tournament. Now our craft fair. Are we just about out of time, Kim? We are. So again, if anybody wants to get involved as a Rave volunteer, they can contact any of the Raynham schools actually and
Yeah.
leave a name and contact
Yep.
information,
And
and
I'll
you'll
be in
contact
touch.
them.
Exactly, yeah.
Excellent, thank you very much. Kim Dolan, our Rave volunteer coordinator.
Thank you.
Yelle, our chairman of our Rave celebration. We want to thank you very much for coming. Thank all of you for being with us as well, and we'll see you here on our next episode of The Inside Scoop. Okay, so now it's got to be next Tuesday. We can't back.